How many sets on average are you doing per exercise? And is it dependent upon the specific exercise as far as, volume is concerned?
2 sets per exercise. Sometimes just one. If I feel like one's enough, I'll do that. But again, first year, I was doing like 4, maybe 5 sets of exercises. Even in 2019, I was doing 5 sets of squats. And a few people are saying, what are you doing that much for? So I've definitely reduced my volume. And whether that's paid off, is arguable. I'm definitely heavier now, so I think less is more. I'm definitely a fan of doing a bit less than what I used to in particular, and my rest periods as well are longer. So I did time my rest periods last year, and I stayed consistent with that, and they were longer than previous. So, just longer rests, less sets, I think has helped.
Wow. So longer rest, give us an average amount of rest period between sets for compound lifts.
Yeah, so I used to be really strict with it. It used to always be 3 minutes in between the compounds. For bigger exercises like squats, hack squats, leg press, deadlifts, 5 minutes or slightly more sometimes. If I needed a bit longer, I'd do longer. But for isolations, 1.5 minutes. And I used to even time like 2.5 minutes in between exercises. He's like,
Wow.
don't talk to me in gym because I'm like literally sticking to a clock.
Yes, yes, yes. And so it's not like that anymore, basically.
Not in off season, no. It's just something I tend to do when I'm dieting, when I'm logging my numbers. I need to know why I've beat that or why I've not beat that. And sometimes,
Okay.
say if I rested 10 minutes, I'm going to beat what I got previously. So for me, I just used to enjoy timing my rests.
Okay. So in the off season, do you think you might be maybe resting a little bit longer, let's say between 2 heavy sets of, say, a dumbbell press, for example? Like, could it go upwards of 5 minutes potentially?
Well, it depends. I remember towards the end of my off season, it was like October, November. So I was quiet as a PT. So I had time just to rest, Whereas now I'm like absolutely manic with PT sessions and check-ins. My coach, he gave me some workouts and he said, these will all take you about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And I'm blasting through them in about 40 minutes, just through lack of time. So it all depends on my schedule, really.
And that's off season specifically too, like on or prep.
Yeah, well, if I were prepping, I'd try and like stick to my rest times, but it all depends on my schedule. Like I've got a young family, and sometimes it's just a race against time. It's like I might be able to get a session in there. I might just do a quick 40-minute workout, and my rest times have to be short. And sometimes I'd superset them. But like I say, it's October, November, December, before I started my contest prep diet, quite quiet with sessions, weren't doing that many. So I was resting. I was doing like 8 exercises in over an hour. I'm sorry, 8 sets in over an hour. So I was resting like 10 minutes in between like my dumbbell chest presses.
Yeah. Did you find that your progression or strength on that, like you were able to lift heavier loads basically because you were resting so long between sets?
Definitely. I just wanted to make sure I beat it, and I was just pushing my rest times to the maximum. Like I said, just you won't believe that I'd just do 8 sets in my girlfriend. Were like, what have you done today? I was like, just 4 exercises, 2 sets each. And I were in gym for like 1.5 hours.
Right, right. And these are like high intensity sessions in terms of, like you mentioned, because we were talking about this earlier, all your working sets are to failure.
I'd say so.
Or
I
attempting
don't
to.
quite push to failure on the hack squats and say leg press anymore. I used to just squat until I dropped on the hack squat, where Alberto told me that he says you don't have to go to absolute failure on everything. It's training smart. It's not just hammering yourself all the time.